ball. So this week, we want to spend more time going over and talking about this defense this year. It's a pretty interesting group, Max. New defensive coordinator, Danny Collins taking over, as we know. We're losing basically 6 starters, depending on what defense was out there between, Robinson and Wally at corner, Lindenberg at linebacker, and then your 2 starting ends and Jaw Joyner and Danny Strigal. All those guys hoping to get drafted this Thursday. But let's start with the defensive line, all right? So who do you think will be the starting 4? And maybe who's a guy in that group that you think is going to maybe be a little bit under the radar and contribute more than what the common fan or common national fan is expecting out of this Gopher squad?
Sure. Yeah, I think at the ends you're going to have Anthony Smith and Jackson Howard, and then interior D line probably Devan Eastern and Jalen Logan Redding. I know we saw a lot of Anthony Smith on the interior last year, but I think that had a lot to do with Jaw Joyner. But it is
Yeah.
nice that Smith can kind of be mixed around wherever, depending on what kind of rush package or blitz they want to put on. So that's pretty helpful. But of those 4, I think Anthony Smith, Devin Eastern, definitely the top 2 producers. Like those are going to be the cornerstones of the defensive line. Jalen Logan Redding, I was happy that he came back too because he can be pretty impressive. And Jackson Howard, I think he's
That's
going to
right.
be that next guy, kind of following
I knew
like an
you were going to
Anthony
get
Smith.
excited, Yogi.
Yeah, just a big athletic defensive end that can wreak havoc. Like,
Yeah.
and I just don't know who's going to be in front of him either. Like, I feel like he's going to get a lot of snaps this year.
I think the only other guy that would, yeah, I completely agree. So I'm with you. I think Anthony Smith is taking over for Jaw Joyner's spot. For sure, Devin Eastern, either defensive tackle spot, it's him, whichever one they prefer him at. I think this Purdue guy has a chance to be the starter in the fact that, like, if they're expecting heavy run situations on early downs, he might be the guy out there. Where opposed to Jalen Logan Redding can rotate in at DN and D tackle, and then you also got the Rashawn Lawrence from Stony Brook, who I believe was more of a pass rush specialist from the defensive tackle spot, so that'll be his role. But I'm with you. My impact guy is Jackson Howard, and I'm not just saying that because Yogi's here and that's his uncle. I've been excited about him, like a lot of Gopher fans, since he transferred back here for home from LSU. Danny Strigo, he's got big shoes to fill. Danny Strigo is probably the most underrated guy on the defense last year. Like, just very sound, sneaky fast too. Like, he did run down a lot of plays and could stretch things out. I think Jackson Howard just has that maybe quicker chitch and a little bit more agility to his game to, like, just physically be a better pass rusher than what we had with Strigo there. And also still do the drop into coverage off the line like we saw a lot of the times with Danny. So I think Jackson Howard, maybe he's not up to the full level of what we saw this past year after Danny. I mean, Danny Strigo was here 5 years, so it's tough to expect him to fill in every single way. I just think Jackson Howard has a lot of more upside. And so I think he's going to have a lot more flash plays. And then maybe, he'll have his learning moments, I'm sure, as well, as most young players do that are moving into more full-time roles. But I liked what I saw last year. I know pictures aren't everything. He's looking thick this year and yoked. He looks like he's really been hitting the weights. So I'm sure a lot of teams can say that. But so Cole chimes in here as we're talking about the D line. He has to. I'm worried about who besides Smith and Howard will be able to get to the QB. That's fair. I know they like Stephen Curtis, right? He's the Illinois State guy. He had a lot of offers coming out of college. I know it's transferring up from D2, but I believe he's more of a pass rush guy there. Yeah, but I think they'd be open to getting another pass rusher for sure if they could. It's more of a wish at this point than I think a need, but I don't know. Like, there's some flexibility there. Like, if you think Anthony Smith, Jackson Howard, and then you bring in Jalen Logan Redding and that Rashawn Lawrence as your 4 best, like, pure pass rushers, or then Stephen Curtis and bump Anthony Smith inside. I just think there's a lot of flexibility up front, assuming that they can all stay healthy.
Right. Yeah, it's you can kind of line it up. It's only 4 or 5 guys, but you can line them up in 6, 7, 8 different
Yeah,
positions essentially, and it's going to
yeah,
be tough for offensive lines too. I mean, you're looking at. I mean, your focus in passing downs is going to be Anthony Smith, so you're going to have to leave someone on a one-on-one somewhere. And I feel like
yeah.
any one of those guys is probably going to win most of the time. Like, there's no weakness that I see on the D line, I guess, in terms of like individual players.
So yeah, and I just want to bring this up now. We've mentioned 8 guys. I hope that that's how many we're actually
Right.
rotating in.
Yeah.
We've named literally 4 DNs in Anthony Smith, Stephen Curtis, Jackson Howard, and Lucas Finney. So all those guys should be able to
Yeah.
contribute and at least give the guy who's playing a lot of break. And those guys can flip positions around. Then you got Devin Eastern, Jalen Logan Redding, Rashawn Lawrence, and now the transfer Mo. I don't have his name up, and it's so tough, guys, to remember everybody's name when they just got here. Um, Mo, it's in the notes. I'll find it here.
While you look for it, you've said his name a couple times. I am actually really also excited about Rashawn Lawrence.
Omanode, Omanode.
Yes.
Anyway, so we've named 8 guys, literally 4 D
Yeah.
tackles, 4 DNs. You got to get him some more rest this year because last year they ran him pretty thin, and I thought it showed by the end of the year they were getting a